President Donald Trump is facing war on all fronts. He's been accused of insensitivity toward a Gold Star widow. Former future President Hillary Clinton is slamming his North Korea strategy as dangerous, and rumors swirl over a Bannon-induced White House conflict with Mitch McConnell. We'll discuss the fallout. Then, Alicia Krause, Amber Athey, and Amanda Prestigiacomo join the panel of deplorables to talk gay Nazi Jews, Rand Paul's smacking around John McCain and Lindsey Graham, and elementary schools canceling Halloween in favor of the politically correct Orange and Black Spirit Day. I'm Michael Knowles, and this is The Michael Knowles Show. We have so much to get to today. It's just war the whole time. Alicia Krause from The Conversation at the Daily Wire is making her panel of deplorables debut. But before we get to any of that, I have very good news, especially for me, but I guess for all of us. We have a new sponsor. We have a sponsor. We're going to keep the lights on.
Yeah, I keep my job.
We're going to keep my cup full of covfefe for maybe a week or two longer. We have to talk about Stamps.com. Stamps.com is great. I've been saying these sponsors are all kind of providential because they speak to my deepest, most central desires. I am a millennial. I'm a member of the much maligned millennial generation. The one thing about millennials, I speak from experience and from the heart, we want everything like right now. We want it on demand. We can get everything on demand. I don't want to have to go to the post office. I don't want to have to go to any brick and mortar store. I get everything exactly to either my couch or my desk. That's exactly where I want it. I've begun to meld in with this chair. Stamps.com can give that to you. Anything that you can get at the post office, you can do right from your desk with Stamps.com. So you can buy and print official U.S. postage for any letter or package using your own computer and printer. Do it right down the hall. For me, I'm not even going to go get it. I'm going to have Marshall go run down and get it. Because we're shipping out blank book after blank book at this place. And I just don't want to go to the post office. I don't want to wait in line. I want to have it right at my desk. Unlike the post office, Stamps.com never closes. So usually I'll procrastinate 7 or 8 hours before I do anything, even get a cup of coffee. And by the time I do that, all the stores are closed. Stamps.com, you can do it right from where you are, whenever you want, at 3 in the morning, which is when I do most of my work. In the old days, there used to be these postage meters. Marshall's obviously too young to remember this, but it's how businesses would post for their packages and for their letters. They would always break. They were always clunky. It wasn't a really not a good system. This is way more streamlined, much more modern. It's just the way to mail things these days. So right now, and by the way, this is the real reason you got to give these guys some love. They made my promo code COVFEFE. COVFEFE. So right now, if you go over to Stamps.com, use my code. Make sure you use my code. It's up in the top corner right by the microphone when you go to the homepage. Type in COVFEFE. Promo code COVFEFE, COVFEFE. That's Stamps.com. Enter COVFEFE and never go to the post office again. And help us keep the lights on. Okay, we've got so much to get to right now. Let's begin with this story that's all over the news. Florida Congresswoman Frederica Wilson, it's always some Florida woman, has come out swinging against President Trump with an allegation that one of her constituents, a Gold Star widow, received a phone call from Trump after her son, Sergeant LaDavid Johnson, was killed in Niger 2 weeks ago. Wilson alleged that this is the Congresswoman, alleged that Trump told the widow, quote, "Well, I guess he knew what he signed up for, but I guess it still hurt." We don't know what he said. We do know that this Florida Congresswoman is pretty kooky, and she comes from a far left ideological background. She famously introduced a congressional resolution to honor Trayvon Martin. She called for Trump's impeachment a couple months ago, and she wears these weird hats all the time. The timing is also a little coincidental. Just a couple days ago, Trump suggested that Obama didn't call Gold Star families when soldiers were killed in action. Now we have this Democratic rep swinging back. A great guy on Twitter, Matt's Ideas Shop, laid it out fairly well in a likely, unlikely diagram. Because look, Trump may have said something to that effect. He's not exactly the most eloquent guy in the world. He might have said something to the effect of, "My condolences, your husband made the ultimate sacrifice. He bravely enlisted. He knew what he signed up for. He's ready to give his life. He's a hero. So that's one version of this, some series of those kind of lines. Or he might have said, "Hey, yo, it's me, the Donald. Your husband knew what he signed up for. Are we cool? What do you think it is?" I'm sorry. I don't care how inarticulate Donald Trump can be. I don't think it was the latter. He may have said some comment to that effect, but the Democratic Congresswoman who's made this a cudgel, given the timing and given her past history, I think it is worth questioning what her political motives are here. Regardless, the really sad thing about this episode is that there's a brave American, Sergeant LaDavid Johnson, who made the ultimate sacrifice for our country, for my freedom and for yours, and he's now being used as a blunt political cudgel by a cynical Democrat congresswoman. It's really awful, and we shouldn't give it. We should address it, obviously. We should address the allegations, but we should not spend more time talking about this cynical woman. This Democratic propagandist that, even if she's alluding to some truthful comment here, is obviously twisting it for political purposes. In other war-related news, my battle axe of a cousin, Hillary Clinton, is despicably mouthing off on foreign soil. The former future president slammed President Trump's North Korea policy as, quote, dangerous and short-sighted, today during a speech in South Korea. She alleged, quote, picking fights with Kim Jong-un just puts a smile on his face. I think the real quote went like, rah, 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 what happened? Something like that. But we were translating it, obviously, for the American audience. The irony defies reason, but then the Clintons are immune to shame. Donald Trump is Clemens von Metternich compared to Hillary Clinton. Let's just establish that first. She has no credibility here. Her disastrous handling of foreign affairs, from the failed Russia reset to her awful handling of crises in Egypt and Libya and elsewhere in the world, it should disqualify her from saying boo about geopolitics. But more than that, she, and particularly her husband, bear the lion's share of the blame for the North Korean nuclear crisis that we find ourselves in. In 1994, people might not remember this, Bill Clinton refused to respond when Kim Jong-il pursued nuclear weapons and when Kim Jong-il refused to allow weapons inspectors to review 2 of his nuclear waste sites, in complete violation of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Then Hillary Clinton was not just First Lady, she was also later Secretary of State. She executed a North Korea strategy known as, this is not a joke, strategic patience. Strategic patience. You couldn't make that up in political satire. And that strategic patience was very unstrategic because it only allowed the threat to grow. President Trump and Secretary of State Tillerson, their handling of North Korea has apparently been pretty good so far, from what we can tell. It's very hard. We're getting mixed signals. We don't really know what's happening.
We're not dead.
And we're not dead. We haven't been obliterated yet. Trump secured the release of that American student, Otto Warmbier, who was jailed by the Kim regime during the Obama administration. But fine. Hillary is bitter that she lost the presidency twice. She can't get over it. She's clearly being ripped apart from the inside out. Who cares? The real offense here is that she's criticizing U.S. policy on foreign soil. There has long been a taboo against doing this. We have robust political debates at home, and then abroad, American citizens are supposed to present a united front. They're supposed to refrain from criticizing the present policy overseas. Hillary, however, is immune from shame. Patriotism be damned. My cousin, what a traumatic family reunion this will be next year. The third battlefront that President Trump faces right now is the apparently Steve Bannon-induced war between the White House and Mitch McConnell. President Trump, standing next to McConnell at this press conference, claimed, quote, my relationship with this gentleman is outstanding. Very Trumpian. There's probably an exclamation point at the end. McConnell echoed this. He said, contrary to what some of you have reported, we are together totally on this agenda to move America forward. But then Donald Trump, in typical fashion, went on to say that he also, quote, totally understands the frustrations of Steve Bannon. And Bannon plans to run primaries against congressional leadership and establishment Republicans. Bannon has declared hashtag war on the Republican establishment and the conservative establishment for that matter. For analysis on this last bit on the Bannon, McConnell, Trump, who knows what's happening, we have to bring on our expert panel of deplorables. An all-female panel, just to celebrate Harvey Weinstein and Hollywood falling apart. We decided to bring all the ladies on the show today. We have Amber Athey from the Daily Caller. We have Amanda Prestigiacomo from the Daily Wire. And making her panel of deplorables debut, we have Alicia Krause, our old friend Alicia Krause, who you might have seen on The Conversation yesterday with Andrew Klavan, and now the Daily Wire's very own. Ladies, thank you for being here.
Thanks.
First question, Alicia.
Oh.
In the war between Trump, McConnell, and Bannon, who is winning?
I don't know that Bannon is at war with Trump. I have this kind of conspiracy theory that he is working behind the scenes and talking to Donald and is like, I got your back, bro. And he really is doing these things that he thinks maybe are helping Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. I think that Bannon might be winning this game, though, because as we saw in the Alabama primary or the Alabama race down there, it ended up being Bannon's guy that won, not Trump's guy. And I think that Trump would like to blame Mitch McConnell for that. I don't know if that's going to end up coming out on, if he's going to end up, coming out on top with that argument. But I think that Bannon is apparently recruiting candidates across the country to pursue and push forward legislation and agendas that Bannon thinks are what Trump should be doing that he isn't doing anymore.
And that's how Bannon positioned his exit from the White House. Mm-hmm. He said, I'm not being fired. I was always going to leave. I can help Trump a lot more from the outside than I can on the inside. Maybe that's true. Maybe it isn't. Amber, is Bannon just trying to position himself in the best possible light, trying to make himself seem like a player here? I think that's what Ben Shapiro suggested earlier today. Or is he acting on behalf of the White House, like Alicia thinks?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think Alicia is right that Bannon is probably of the mindset that he's helping Trump by opposing these supposedly anti-Trump candidates. But at the same time, I don't think he really has as much power as he lets on. When you look at the Alabama race, Roy Moore was already really, really popular and slated to win that race. So I'm not sure how much of an effect Bannon really had there. And if you consider the fact that he thinks that being at Breitbart gives him a lot of power, that would mean that places like the Daily Caller and the Daily Wire would also be able to, shape electoral races. And I'm just not sure that that's really the case.
Oh, I feel...
No offense to us.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like I can zap lightning out of my fingers or something. But maybe that's just a difference of reaction. Amanda, Trump has been saying very nice things about Mitch McConnell. Regardless of the Bannon dynamics, regardless of whether they're working in collusion, he's been saying nice things about, like, one of the most detested Republicans in the country. Pigs are flying on a cold day in hell. How long will the bromance last?
As long as it's beneficial to Trump. I mean, he can turn on McConnell at the drop of a hat. So Trump knows how to play this game better than anyone. If you think it's beneficial to, cozy up to McConnell and have that presser where they're all buddy-buddy, then he'll do it. And then the second he wants to put the blame back on McConnell, he will. And we've seen that before. So it's just whatever is beneficial to Trump, he'll spin it in a way that, McConnell's good or bad.
Right.
It's whatever it's beneficial to him.
People are knocking him because they say he has a tough relationship with the truth. He says one thing one day, says one thing the next. I actually really like it. I do think the New Yorker thing is at play with my read on that, because that is just how New Yorkers talk. They'll come out, they'll say, oh yeah, I love this guy. He's like a brother to me. Yeah, he's doing the great work out there. Yeah, and then the next day, if McConnell stabs Trump in the back, he'll say he's a total loser. I hate his guts, and who cares?
Yeah.
There's like
and then he'll come back around.
His I don't say dishonesty, but his relationship with the truth, I think it's sort of guileless here. He's very open. That Donald Trump is going to do this. The minute McConnell turns on him, it's going to be no holds barred.
Yeah, and it helps him kind of push whatever he wants forward, because they know that he's, I'm in his good graces. No, for this second. So they know that right. They're going to be held accountable, and he kind of, strings them along that way.
Gotta love it. That's that. I think I compared him to Metternich earlier in the show. I don't know if future historians will recognize the political genius of Donald Trump, but they probably should. He's actually been working at a much higher level than I think a lot of people gave him credit for. Okay, we've got a lot more news to get to. We have to get to the war on Halloween before the war on Christmas. There's now a war on Halloween. There is so much to talk about, but if you don't subscribe to the Daily Wire, you can't see the rest of it. We appreciate all the current subscribers. You're helping keep the lights on. You're helping keep Covfefe in my Tumblr. But for the rest of you, go over there right now. You'll get me. You'll get the Andrew Klavan Show. You'll get the Ben Shapiro Show. All that, it's just $10 a month or $100 for an annual membership. But I know you're thinking, I don't know, that's a lot of shows. Who cares? Whatever. But look at this, guys. Look at this. the Leftist Tears tumbler filled to the brim with covfefe right now. This is the finest mechanism for drinking tasty Leftist Tears in the country. The vintage we've prepared here is actually from South Korea. It's from Seoul after Hillary Clinton's speech. Obviously, it's not a limited run because Hillary Clinton has been spouting salty Leftist Tears for 9 months now, and really for the better part of 30 years. But you can have that vintage can be yours if you go to thedailywire.com right now. We'll be right back.